what's going on, guys? It is Foxy98 here, and welcome back to a brand new F1 2017 career mode video for you guys today here on my channel. Today we are back here for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and as you can see on your screens right now, Chris is coming up to us, and he's actually gone and given us our brand new parts, which is a reduction in the chassis weight, which is going to be a very big thing for Ferrari, and that's going to signal the last of the upgrades for this team. We're still a little bit behind Mercedes in the vehicle performance comparison chart, and that's really down to just the powertrain, because as you can see here, in terms of the chassis, I believe now we've got the best chassis on the grid. Yeah, you can see that. Aerodynamics, we also have the best aerodynamics on the grid. And then when we move over to powertrain, we have like the fourth best on the grid. The Mercedes have even made an upgrade to that powertrain. So yeah, that's the reason that we're still the second best in terms of the car. We generally have a much better car than Mercedes, but they just have a lot more power. You can see it there, look, they've made an upgrade to the powertrain and they are way in front of us in terms of the power. So that's where Mercedes-Benz are on top. Apart from that, Ferrari are better in every other aspect, and that is kind of fine for us. But anyway, we're going to be changing out our old element part, or engine parts, like we always do. So we're going to be, as you can see here, I'm actually trying to have a look here, because the MGU-H, I don't really have a nice MGU-H to use, so I'm just going to have to use a very old MGU-H for this practice session, which isn't too much of a worry. I'm not in a major rush to try and gather resource points. But anyway, as you can see, then we're going to be having a look at the setup then that we're going to be using for the Brazilian Grand Prix. And again, this was just made from practice. I decided to keep with 6.6 wings. Now, honestly, I would recommend dropping down to 5.5 wings or even 5.4 wings. I stayed with 6.6 the whole weekend, but my straight line speed was badly compromised, so I would definitely recommend lowering the wings. You don't need to run 6.6 like I did. I kept it going because I just felt that I could get a lot of balance, but everything that I gained in the middle sector especially was then being lost in the first and third sector due to the straight line speed. So if you've got a car which is lacking in straight line speed, go for a low downforce setup. But if you've got a car like maybe you're in the Force India, Williams, or a Mercedes powered car, definitely go for the wings option. As you can see here, the tyre wear test didn't really go that well, unfortunately. Yeah, I got reset to track as well, actually. I was down on my delta time. The tyre wear was just shocking. I just couldn't get it anywhere near the green. I pushed extremely hard, and I ended up going for a spin into we're still in practice, into the fuel saving test. I actually had to do that on my second attempt. I got held up in the middle sector by Van Dorn, so I had to go around, do the test again, which I eventually passed. Qualifying pace, didn't pass that, which is kind of the norm. And then here, as you can see, I'm up on my delta time, but unfortunately, straight line speed, it's not there because of the old engine, so I eventually ticked back down into the red, and I just decided there's no point in doing it again, because I was about 3/10 up, and then I lost all those 3/10 going on the straight, so I just decided, what's the point? I'll just leave it alone and see how we go. But anyway then, as you can see, we're having a look at the session objectives then for this Grand Prix, and they want us to qualify in third, beat Valtteri Bottas, which is basically every single race. So into Q1 we go then, they're coming towards the line now. We're going to set a 1 minute 9.6, which was comfortably faster than Max Verstappen's lap time, and we go across the line, eventually to finish in P4 behind the two Mercedes cars and my teammate Sebastian Vettel. Now, of course, guys, if you are not aware, the World Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship are on the line in today's Grand Prix. I completely forgot to say that. Me and Vettel are going head-to-head today. I need to score more than 6. I need to beat Vettel by 6 points. Sorry, Vettel needs to win, and I have to finish lower than 7th, I believe it is, for him to carry the championship fight to Abu Dhabi. And Ferrari just need to outscore Mercedes. Doesn't matter how many points it is, just even by like a point. In fact, no, I believe Mercedes need to have a 1-2 and Ferrari not to have a result in order for Ferrari to not clinch the Constructors here today. So the championships are on the line for Ferrari today. Let's see what we can do. But into Q3, it started actually raining. So Vettel went across the line and set a slower lap than me. I went across the line and beat that. But somehow, Romain Grosjean, Lance Stroll, and Valtteri Bottas managed to beat those lap times despite the fact it got even wetter that you could not go out on the dry tyres. So again, probably one of those qualifying glitches, which is really frustrating, but oh well. I mean, we're going to be starting P4 for today's Grand Prix, and as you can see in the rivalry of Valtteri Bottas, that doesn't really help us out, as we are now drawing with him, and as you can see then, in terms of the team approval, we're just about still scraping in the purple there after the poor qualifying, which left us away from the team's main objectives. But having a look then at the session goals, is going to be to finish on the podium, beat Bottas and place 9th in the championship. Let's get into the race.
It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. It's Ferrari in pole position then. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Palmer, Kvyat, Esteban Ocon, and Stroll, Grosjean, Sainz, Van Dorn, and Pascal Wehrlein. Bottas, Ericsson, Fernando Alonso, and Hülkenberg, Vettel, Massa, Kevin Magnussen, and Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Alright then guys, as you can see, we're on the grid here for the start of this Brazilian Grand Prix. We've actually got heavy rain at the moment, but the team and everybody else are starting this race on the intermediate tyres. So despite the fact that it's heavy rain, we're going to go on the intermediate, so we need to be very cautious of this first stint. But due to the lots of penalties, I'm now starting on pole position for the Brazilian Grand Prix, which has put me in prime target to win this championship. We've got 4, now 5 red lights here for the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and it is lights out. There we go here for the Brazilian Grand Prix. A very poor start there, just getting so much wheel spin off the line, which was expected due to these intermediate conditions. And as you can see, look, being very cautious in towards turn 1 and 2 in this center S section. We just don't want to make any silly mistakes now. The championship is pretty much already in my hands. I have pole position. I'm now in the lead. It's up to Sebastian Vettel to come at me and try and attack me and hope that something goes horribly wrong on my end. But as you can see, we're 2/10 clear of Sergio Perez, but we're just trying to get a little feel for the conditions. And you're going to see I pressed that button by mistake and have no intention on pressing that in the first place. Onto lap 2 of the Grand Prix now, and as you can see, the domination has already begun as I go off track there onto the grass. So that could have been devastating, but luckily it wasn't. But already I'm pulling out a specific gap here, setting the fast lap of the race. It is slowly beaten by Sergio Perez by 0.2 of a second, and that was down to me just going very wide and going onto the grass on the last corner. So if we can avoid doing that, then we should set the fastest lap and continue to pull away. As you can see, getting a huge snap of oversteer through the center S is just showing how tricky it is in these conditions. These aren't the right conditions really for Inters, but it will slowly work towards us, and we do set a new fast lap of a 122.7, which is comfortably clear of Sergio Perez as we again just continue to lose that back end. And it's through these high-speed corners where the traction in the grip just is not there, and you can see the wheel just constantly turning. We've lost the back end there. Oh my god, that's so close to the wall, and we've nearly binned it here in this brilliant Grand Prix. Now Sergio Perez is going to come and take the lead of the Grand Prix, and like I said, those high-speed corners are really tricky in these conditions. You saw me constantly overcorrecting the car, and I just got the car on the curb, put the power on too early, lost the back end, managed to correct it, and then as soon as the car flicked away from the wall and was going in the other direction, I slammed on the brakes to try and stop the car from basically going into Narnia. But I'm going to go and just creep my nose in, and I'm going to go back down the inside of Sergio Perez, and I'm going to cover him off very aggressively there. And we're back up into the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Now we need to keep our composure as these conditions are extremely hard. And on to lap 5 now, starting lap 6 of the Grand Prix. We set a new fastest lap by 3/100ths of a second there, and the gap is back up to 2 seconds. So we're back up on Sergio Perez again, but we cannot be comfortable in this Grand Prix. We've just seen how tricky these conditions really are. And as you can see, look at that. I'm just constantly correcting the car. Literally just power sliding it through. On to lap 11 of the Grand Prix now, and the gap between myself and Sergio has increased quite dramatically now, and we're really starting to work into our own. But once again, we lose the back end. We've gone off the track here, and we're just going to let the car stay off track there, and that's perfectly fine. But coming through this corner now, more mistakes are about to come our way. I'm letting off the throttle, but the back end's gone. We've put it into another power slide here, and we've gone off the track, and we've been warned for it exceeding track limits and warned for corner cutting, which is extremely fair. I mean, the track limits weren't not so much because I wasn't really gaining anything. I was losing time. Anyway, that's all the problems that went out front. But now we need to focus on the championship contender, Sebastian Vettel, who was down the order due to grid penalties at the start of the race. Lewis Hamilton makes his way through, and Marcus Ericsson, and Vettel follows him through. And as you can see, they are quite far down the order as Lewis Hamilton now looks to attack the other Sauber. Sebastian is literally just now following Lewis and taking advantage of when Lewis makes a specific overtake here. As they come towards the pit straight now, Lewis Hamilton side by side with Pascal Wehrlein down the inside into turn 1. And as you can see, Pascal there has to go up. And once again, look, Vettel being very sneaky and using Lewis Hamilton as the man to basically get past all the drivers. And Hamilton there going for a very strange overtake that really wanted to go for it. He's going to wait till the pit straight though, and now he's going to go for it. Round the outside in towards turn 1. Sebastian is going to follow him behind. And as you can see, that's a McLaren of Stoffel Van Dorn in the way as well. Hamilton this time gets past Hulkenberg, but crucially, Sebastian doesn't get past Hulkenberg. And now he's lost some time here. Is that Jolyon Palmer? I can't actually see. It's Hulkenberg. Okay. But as you can see now, further on into the next lap, Sebastian Vettel is now behind Nico Hulkenberg. But for some reason, he's not really going for it. So Hulkenberg has got some decent pace here. And Lewis Hamilton flies past Stoffel Van Dorn. And Sebastian Vettel now, if he wants to win this championship, remember, he's got to overtake me and win this race and hope that something goes wrong for me. So it's all on the line for Sebastian Vettel. There's not a lot of pressure on my end. I've just got to keep the car on the racetrack, really, and just score some points and beat Vettel. That's all I've got to do here. As we can see, Nico Hulkenberg going down the inside of Stoffel Van Dorn. And you can see back onto the POV of Vettel's rear wing here. And Hulkenberg makes it stick on Van Dorn. And Vettel's now going to have to stay another lap behind the McLaren Honda car, and that's really putting him off as Lewis Hamilton has just gone off into the distance, but Vettel going for it really, really aggressive there on Stoffel Van Dorn, and he makes that move. That was really quick. Wow, okay. And then a lap later now, he's onto the back of Stoffel Van Dorn, not Van Dorn, he's already overtaken Van Dorn onto the back of Hulkenberg now. That's Lewis Hamilton there in the distance, making yet another overtake here, and now it's Hamilton on Ocon there. So Hamilton making moves now on the Force Indias as Vettel goes down the inside of Nico Hulkenberg, and he makes that one stick, which is very good for him. On to lap 12 of the Grand Prix now, and we're making our very first pit stop of the Grand Prix to go on to a new set of intermediates as I go very, very wide into the pits there. I have no idea why the Brazilian Grand Prix track has now got that pit entry. It's really weird and unnecessary. I don't know if it's maybe to slow cars down, but that little chicane style thing, I can't remember when they brought it in. I think it was 2014 they brought it in, I'm not 100% sure. It's just unnecessary, it's weird and I don't really like it. But anyway, coming out of the pits now, I believe Sergio Perez has carried on, so we expect him to pit in the next lap or two for a new set of intermediates. And we are going to rejoin just in front of one of the Williamses, and crucially, we are, if you may have just seen it in the background, they'll come through now. There it is, Sebastian Vettel. We have rejoined in front of him, and we have a pit stops advantage over our championship rival already in this race. And we are now going to be pulling away as Vettel is stuck behind Ocon, and then he's got a Sauber and also a Williams to catch. So this is going to be very big for Sebastian Vettel in this Grand Prix, and he's going to really struggle now in this Grand Prix. On to lap 16 of the Grand Prix, and as you can see, we're going to be making a pit stop for a set of dry tyres, but there is something absolutely crucial in this Grand Prix. Sergio Perez did not stop for a second set of intermediates. Perez actually carried on and stayed on those inters, and he's got a pit stops advantage on us now. This is, there he is, look, he's going out of the pits, that's him there. He's on a set of mediums, and he stayed out on his one set of inters. If I just stayed out 4 more laps on my inters, we could have done the same strategy as Sergio, but wow, this is absolutely huge. Sergio Perez has pulled off a masterclass of a strategy, and he's now in front of us with, I think it's like 20 laps to go, and he's got at least a 20-second gap on us now, so we've got to take a second a lap out of Sergio. And remember, that Force India is really nippy in a straight line. We're really going to have to just absolutely give it everything in the middle sector, mainly because on the straights, I've not really got any matches for Sergio Perez, as Bottas there has pitted for a set of super soft tyres, so he's going to be closing up on us with 2 compound tyres quicker. But Lewis Hamilton has had to stay out another lap on his intermediates, and now he's holding me up here, and I don't need this because I need to start catching Perez here. And as you can see, I'm just going to put it down the inside here because Hamilton's going to brake very early, and I'm going to get much better traction. Lewis has got no chance of fighting back. And look at that, Perez there, you can see it on the top left, has made that stop for medium tyres. So it's now a race, but as you can see further back, looking at Sebastian Vettel, his progress now as he continues onwards, he's catching to Daniel Ricciardo, so he's making very quick gains in this race, but is it enough? I just don't know, as he goes down the inside of Daniel into turn 4 now, and Ricciardo does fight this one quite hard here, and he's going to have to work a little bit for it, but he just gets better traction, he's just got better speed in the Ferrari. Onto lap 18 of the Grand Prix now, Perez sets the fastest lap of the race on a 1:17.1 here, as he's absolutely flying on those new fresh medium compound tyres. However, we're going to come across the line and set a 1:15.9. The gap is now 11 seconds between myself and Perez here. Lap 19 of this Grand Prix. Surely we should be able to catch Sergio Perez and try and take the win here in the Brazilian Grand Prix. And Bottas on his super softs only goes 0.3 quicker than me, so I was expecting him to be a lot faster than that, but surprisingly not. But onto lap 30 of the Grand Prix, I still haven't caught Sergio Perez. At this stage in the race, I was genuinely trying to catch Perez as Grosjean retires from the race. But as you can see there, I also have the DRS failure, which isn't really helping at the moment. But I was genuinely trying to catch Perez. And onto the final lap, I couldn't catch Sergio. He was absolutely lightning quick. There was nothing I could do. And at the end of the day, I wasn't really that concerned, because as we come across the line, Sergio Perez wins the Grand Prix, but we come across the line for P2, and that means we are the World Drivers' Champion for F1 2017 in our first season with Force India and Ferrari.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion.
I'm not going to lie, Codemasters, I know you've done a great game, okay, but at least could you let my AI car do some absolutely insane donuts? That literally looked like a slow-mo version of a Formula E car that had no battery left. I mean, that was terrible. But anyway, guys, that's it. We managed to win the World Drivers' Championship. I did everything I could to catch Perez, but my pace on the medium tyres just wasn't brilliant. And there it is, look. Sebastian Vettel did manage to recover to 4th place, but he had to win this race, and I had to finish lower than 7th, and I took that into consideration as well. That even though I was trying my hardest to catch Perez, I knew that where I was at the moment was a safe place to win the championship, so I took a small bit of caution into it. The gap dropped to about, I believe it was, we'll see at the end of the race, it was 13 seconds or something like that, coming out of the pits with 20 laps to go, so I really did give it my hardest, but it just wasn't enough in the end. That Force India was just too good in a straight line, but really stunning result there. Force India back on top after I was there. And there it is, look, I managed to get the gap down to just 3.1 seconds. I tried everything I could, so I closed 10 seconds in 20 laps, really, an average of half a second a lap. There were some laps where I actually lost time to Perez, so yeah, I gave it my all, but then I just decided to stick back, be a bit more cautious, and there it is, guys, confirmation that we've won the Drivers' Championship. Now, Vettel cannot catch me in the last race, no matter what, so we're going to have a nice, fun, clean race in Abu Dhabi just to enjoy ourselves. And also, in the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari have now sealed the deal against Mercedes. We have managed to beat them in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes have got no way now of gaining on us. So it's a nice calm race for Abu Dhabi in terms of the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship. And I'm really, really happy with that. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for the Brazilian Grand Prix. We came here with one goal in mind, to win the Drivers' Championship. And we've gone and done it. And we're also going to go and do an invitational event now. It's not coming up, but it will do in very, very soon. But gathering our resource points now, we're up to 917 resource points. In the rivalry of Bottas, I believe we're still drawing, yes, because of, I can't really remember what. But as you can see there, look, we're now all the way at the top of the purple with Ferrari now, so we can't do any worse. And here we've got a pursuit around the short circuit, Silverstone with the Red Bull. Or we've got the checkpoint challenge around Monaco with the McLaren. Both of them in the wet. I decided to go with the McLaren because why not? So as you can see here, I'm going to show you the first lap as I smack the wall there. I'm going to show you the first lap with the McLaren, and then I'm just going to show me completing it. As you can see me just sliding my way up the hill now. Yeah, guys, basically I'm going to show you the entire lap of Monaco, and then I'm just going to go to the point where we finish it because there's no point in just seeing the whole thing. But I'll be back when I'll be back to outro the video in just a second. guys, so we just missed this final checkpoint here just in front of us. There it is. But guys, that's going to be it for today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, drop it a like, subscribe if you're new around here as well. And in the next race in Abu Dhabi will be a nice clean race before we see what options we have for Season 2. But guys, we've done it. We've won the World Championship. And I'm so happy about that. Take care all, guys. Peace.